Pwede rin ko, ikaw,
Okay ra ba ka sir nga mo include sa apili mong voice o gimong image sa pan sa sige. Thank you sir.
Sir, good morning. So, ang topic dito today is all about the tuition and kuan kana mga other fees na increases. So, may I know what is your role sa kaning education sector, or isa ba ka estudyante or teacher? Unsa imong kuan kanang role sa kuan education?
Ako si Cyan Rom, former Alakbayan USC University of San Carlos Secretary General. I was also a philosophy major sa inyong school, Talamban campus ko back in 2023. Pero I'm transferring to CIT soon. As kanang a person nga naigo jud sa mga fees sa USC before, I can say nga it is really a manifestation of the commercialization of education. No, it is a manifestation of an education that does not care about its students but cares more about the profits of its administration. Imagine that the University of San Carlos administration has multiple like fancy cars, Mustangs. They have a lot of profit from the years that they took tuition fee increases, right? But they are not even able to provide good services to their students, right? Even during my time, ang Safad Canteen was very underdeveloped. Many places in PE buildings sa SAS were still undeveloped, especially after Typhoon Odette hit, diba? This is causing the students a lot of stress because the admin is placing the burden of improving the education system, the facilities that they are advertising as their own to the students. Imagine, you are advertising an apple, right? Or any kind of food, like you're a restaurant, but you let your customers pay for the building of that restaurant. That does not make sense, right? Does it? It does not make sense. What we should be paying for is simply just the usage of the building and the the wages of our professors, right? But in reality, we are paying, because of these tuition fee increases, not to mention the miscellaneous fees, students are also forced to pay for even more than what they're supposed to pay. I remember as a student activist in University of San Carlos, one of our campaigns was against a 1,600, I believe, pesos na ISPS fees, institutional students programs and services fees, which did not have a breakdown. And many fees like this do exist all across Cebu, right? From USC to CIT to USJR, there are many fees that go unexplained, and students have to bear the burden of paying for more than they actually have to.
So other question regarding sa kuan kanang in regards with also TOEFL, kanang is this ever influence you to like enroll to a different school since you were from USC before and then
not directly, I would say, somewhat indirectly, because because of the financial burdens as well as the stress of being a philosophy major, that led me to stop schooling for a bit, and then I decided to enroll to another school just a couple days ago, to CIT, for just to continue my education. However, yes, many students do face that kind of problem of like having to shift to other schools just to continue their education.
Knowing that you're like, let's just go back to being a USC student before, no? So, di ba, we experienced TOEFL, and does this affect you personally? For example, your family, you're the one who kanang continue expenses sa school.
Of course, right? My family was a little bit well-to-do and a bit okay in terms of financial burdens, but even that cost me distress, right? Hearing that there would be a tuition fee increase. I remember one of my first protests in USC was against the tuition fee repricing scheme back in 2020 or 2019, where there were courses that were bound to increased by 100%, right? Back in 2020. And we led protests in downtown campus against that, mobilizing students from Pulsci and other courses. Now, the thing is, even though my family was well-to-do, there were obviously problems that I had to face, and obviously there were things that I had to give up, right? So in the end, like even if I was well-to-do, we were still affected. Imagine how many more students who are not well-to-do who are affected even worse by these tuition fee increases. And I want to link that up with the protest here. This protest is in commemoration of May 1st, which is Labor Day, and many workers want to get their kids enrolled in college. Some do, and eventually there are like 3 categories, right? The first category are those who are able to successfully graduate their students after working a lot, loaning a lot. This is a lot of financial problems for the workers. Secondly, there are those who get their children enrolled in university but are not able to finish, but the students themselves are not able to finish their courses, which is another added burden for the parent and the student. And thirdly, and this is the bigger category, those who are not even capable of having their children enrolled in a tertiary education. This is the reality of our system. But the reality of our system is not a system existing does not mean that the system cannot be changed. That's why we protest, that's why we campaign, that's why we organize these various organizations from Anak Bayan to Student Alliance for Nationalism and Democracy, because we want to advocate for our education, for a better education, and continue the fight till we reach the maximum demand, which is education should be free. Education should not be a service that is provided privately and with kanang fees to it, right? It just doesn't make sense. Many developed nations of the world have free education. We are one of the only few countries whose education system is dominated 88% by private education.
So with that, do you think that the decision of like the increase bitaw sa TOEFL kay, for example, I know it is different to different schools, but do you think this allows kanang interest bitaw sa mga infrastructures or kundi sa like sa basic needs of you as a student kay na-provide ba kana mas nilambo ba kaha ang imong mga kuan?
That is a very interesting question, because many students can say yes, TOEFL is good because tuition fee increases are good because they give kanang higher, like better standards of education, better infrastructure, but that's not true. The admin is capable and fully capable of providing these facilities without having to increase tuition. The admin can provide them by using their own profit, by using their own funds that they have amassed through years of their existence. They have existed. USC claims to be the oldest school in Cebu. In fact, they even debate, they even fight against University of Santo Tomas for being the oldest school in the Philippines. And let's say they are the oldest school in the Philippines. They are the oldest school in the Philippines who cannot provide a good education, who cannot provide good infrastructure to their students. We have extremely high tuition fee in University of San Carlos, or had, as I am a former student. But imagine, this high tuition fee does not correspond to how bad the bathrooms, the CRs are in Talamban campus. There are going back to the issue of just like the comfort rooms alone, right? You can see the janitors are not getting enough to clean these, right? You can see that there's a lack of, it's understaffed basically. And that understaffing is caused by the admin not providing enough for their workers, right? But they still charge extremely high and exorbitant tuition fee increases from their students. Why? Because the admin wants to get money from their students to fund for their own personal needs and expenses, not for the benefit of the students.
So, what do you think is the what can you recommend for the school's administrators if you as a student itself or even as a citizen to not just the administration but also to policymakers in regards to TOEFL?
The admin has many claims. The admin can say that we need the TOEFL for budget for the school. Okay, let us say that let us bite the bullet and say the admin really does not have the funds to provide a good education, which already is very questionable, right? Even if they didn't, they should ask from the local government unit for funds because they are under the local government unit, Cebu City, right? Even if they can't do that, right? If they did that, they would be able to provide funds for their infrastructure without actually having to increase the tuition for the students. But the very obvious answer here already is that a lot of the funds of the university are not going to where they're supposed to be. We need more transparency. We need the admin to actually provide the funds to their constituencies, to their students. And that is why I feel like the biggest solution would be for the students themselves to assert that their education is their right. The admin has the inane responsibility to provide for its students, not just get tuition for an education that in the end, do we even have the illusion that we're going to be leaders of our nation? No. The reality is we're just going to be corporate slaves after studying, right? So, that's another issue we need to face. But with regards for tuition fee increases, becoming a corporate slave with that extremely exorbitant amount of tuition is not worth it, if you ask me.
That's all. Thank you, kayo.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Kung gusto nyo picture ka dyan.
Sure, go.
25 now.
Si Sayan.
Sayan, hi Sayan.
Pwede ka.